Welcome to the Jeddah Street Circuit for what we hope is going to be a gripping day of racing. It's time to get underway as we join the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Hey fantastic people, welcome back to F1ntastic Gaming, and today we have the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix Last of First Challenge. I am so excited for this Last of First Challenge. I really enjoyed the circuit, I really enjoyed driving it on the game, although of course in real life there have been safety concerns about the circuit, especially after crashes such as Mick Schumacher's crash, which happened in qualifying yesterday. Yes, I am commentating on this after qualifying. Sergio Perez on pole, such a great performance from him, his first pole position, and I will be racing as Lewis Hamilton, starting from the back of the grid, which is not very far off from his actual qualifying position, because yeah, he had a really disappointing qualifying. He reported that he had no ballast on the car, and yeah, we'll be making our way up the grid now, and hopefully we can get a strong finish in the Mercedes, because the Mercedes was pretty strong around Jeddah last year. Obviously a lot of changes this year in terms of the cars and the teams performances, so I really can't wait for the F1 22 game and to start making content on that game. But for now, of course, let's focus on this challenge.
Today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Russell, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi, Mazepin and Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
The classic pre-race Jeff radio message is done, and now we're going to look at the race strategy. I was a bit skeptical about this one because we're going to spend more time on the softs than we are on the mediums, which is quite unusual, and yeah, I am worried that I won't make it, but in the end I did stick to the original strategy because hopefully we can make it work. And yeah, let's head on to the race first. But before that, I reduced the fuel load on my car because there's no rich mix, so you can't really burn extra fuel, so that extra fuel could turn out just to be extra. But now we're gonna go to 5 red lights for the 2022 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix Last of First Challenge. It's lights out and away we go, and you can see we don't get the best start. We got an okay launch, and after that the acceleration was not really good, and as we make a bit of a dive into turn 1, obviously we have to be very cautious because the track really narrows through turn 1 and 2, and we definitely made contact with Russell there. I was trying to go to the outer extremities of the track to try and leave space for the other drivers, but it was very difficult as we have to slow down behind the Aston Martins. I'm getting hit by a bit of lag here at the start as well, but yeah, I have to really slow down for these Aston Martins. They're on the medium tires and they're slow anyway, so this is really holding me up. A bit of frustration there, not really much though. It's the early laps of the race. We still have time, the field is still bunched up together, and I can make easy overtakes like this one down into turn 13 on the inside. Turn 13 is probably one of my favorite corners on the circuit. I really like how it is banked, that really helps with the overtaking. But yeah, down into the chicane now of turns 15 and 16. I try to make a move on Lance Stroll, but you know what, I decided to be patient and wait for the exit, and you can see down this these long flowing corners completely flat out, we get the advantage on Lance Stroll. But you can see from the proximity arrows, Lance Stroll tried to use a slipstream, but through 22 and turn 23 you can see that we gained enough time on him to kind of pull away from him. We're already nearly half a second ahead of him, so that's some clear superior grip we have there. And now we are trying to catch Fernando Alonso, not too far ahead, only half a second, and you can see we're already gaining so much time on the straight, and he's actually battling with his teammate, which is brilliant for us. We're very cautious into turn 1, and we come through turn 2, and oh my goodness, there's a double overtake on him right there. We overtook both the Alpines in one corner. That was a beautiful move, that felt really good. And yeah, I was not expecting that. I just went for it through turn 2. I got on the throttle, and I managed to go ahead. You can see Ocon has absolutely no idea. He can't even see me. I just zoomed through like that. Yeah, that was beautiful. This is from Fernando Alonso's view. You can see Yeah, we just had so much overspeed through turn 2 that they couldn't really do anything about it. And by the last sector of lap number 2 now. You can see that we're already pulling up behind Sainz, less than half a second the gap now. I'm taking a different racing line, trying to get a slingshot through here and trying to use overtake mode and the slipstream to maybe make a move into the final corner, although he has the advantage because he's taken the inside line. Some good defending from the AI. I decide to step back for now and save the overtake for turn 1. You can see we got a great exit out of there. He doesn't get the same exit that we do because we took a better racing line, and you can see down to turn 1 we don't even need to use much overtake mode. We don't have DRS yet at all, and we can make a pretty easy move, pretty smooth move. And yeah, now I'm already chasing after Charles Leclerc. You can see that I kind of squeezed him to the edge of the track as I got on the throttle. I didn't turn enough, so I didn't leave him enough space. That's my bad. But around the outside of I think that is turn 4, we make the overtake on Charles Leclerc. You can see this is us overtaking both the Ferraris. So yeah, that's the second lap in a row that we overtook 2 cars of the same team in the first sector. So yeah, that's really good for us, although that move on the Alpines is just unbeatable. But yeah, you can see I did make contact with Leclerc. That is my bad. I should have maybe left him more space, but that definitely would have compromised my racing line and the momentum I had, which is probably why I didn't leave him much space, and I just decided to carry on with that momentum. And speaking of momentum, you can see we've used some great momentum from those corners in the first sector to make a move down the inside of turn 13 on Yuki Tsunoda. We had DRS and we were already closing up on him using that momentum that I mentioned, and yeah, that was a really nice move. And now up into P7 we go, into lap number 4, down into turn 1. We're gonna try, we can't make a move on Gasly. I was thinking of trying it, but he was way too far ahead, and I'm just gonna use a better racing line through turns 1 and 2. I really close up to him, and can I go for the move in turn 4? It's a bit ambitious. He doesn't really go defensive, but there's enough space on the inside to make the overtake. Into P6 we go, and we're right behind both the McLarens now, or we're not really right behind. There's almost a 1 second gap, but still, that was another beautiful move. You can see that there is some good overtaking opportunities on the circuit, but yeah, I feel like some of that is down to the fact that I have a really fast Mercedes. But yeah, you can see that was great reaction time from the AI, so Gasly was able to avoid a crash. That's good. Good for wheel-to-wheel racing. But yeah, now I'm gonna try and close up on the McLarens. I want to get into at least P4, because then I can start chasing after the top 3 and try and get a podium. But yeah, first we have to focus on getting into P4 in the first place. You can see I'm using a lot of ERS to try and close up to Ricciardo, but maybe I shouldn't have, because I can't really make a move here. I'll have to wait for making a move later on. You can see we optimize our racing line through there, and now we're using DRS down the final straight before the final corner, and Ricciardo's actually pulling away because I think he has DRS on his teammate. He actually goes for a move on his teammate. You can see they're battling ahead of us. Norris is locking up. This is a really heated battle, and I kind of lose control as well. I got a bit of oversteer as I got a bit too eager on the throttle. You can see they're still fighting side by side. This is really good for me because it enables me to make a move down to turn 1, and you can see I make the move on Norris. Norris just turns in on me, and yeah, that's not good from the air. It happens way too often, but they do it anyways. And I got the overtake done up in a P5 now, and I can chase after Ricciardo. I couldn't get both McLarens down to one corner, and you can see that actually I went really aggressive on the inside, kind of closed the angle for me. But yeah, the AI, they just turn in on you. They really don't do anything, and you end up wheel banging, making contact unnecessarily. But yeah, I'm chasing after Ricciardo now. A lot of dirty air from this car. Thankfully, no dirty air in 2022 could really improve racing through that section, because when there's no dirty air, they could actually close up on the car ahead. And yeah, we'll see how that works out in the race. As you can see, I tried to make a move around the outside of turn 13. Doesn't work out. You want the inside line to that corner because it's way more advantageous. And you can see down to turn 15, I tried to make a move around the outside, but that doesn't work out, and we're still behind Ricciardo. You can see we're really pushing him, going side by side for so long. And now down to turn 22, you can see he comes out ahead, but now I can finally push and try and get him into the final corner. We've been behind him this entire lap. We've been pushing him so hard, and he's actually managed to stay ahead. But now around the outside of the final corner, can I secure the move? No, I actually can't. Oh wait, but on the exit we get a lot more traction. We get much better traction, and we can can't secure the move. But now Ricciardo, he has DRS down into turn 1. He was behind in the detection zone, a bit smart from the AI there, and now I'm kind of getting sandwiched by the two McLarens, but I brake very late and I turn in just at the right point, so there was no contact made, and now I can come out clearly ahead of both McLarens. And yeah, that was actually some nice wheel to wheel battling. You can see 3 wide into turn 1, and then just locking up there, pushing really hard on the brakes and steering quite aggressively, but it works out in the end because we're ahead. And now on lap 7 you can see that I'm trying to close up to the gap to Perez and Bottas, who are ahead of me. They're occupying the podium positions, and that's Max Verstappen in the lead of the race. So yeah, in 2021 Lewis Hamilton would have really been on a charge if he was in this position to try and catch Max Verstappen, but obviously in real life Lewis Hamilton won the race. And now in the end of lap number 7 we've come into the pits for a fresh set of medium tires. Our soft tires are really worn. We've wrung the whatever performance we can take out of those tires, and yeah, we really perform well on the soft. I hope I can replicate that performance and gain more time on the cars ahead when I'm on the medium tires. But now you can see from the leaderboard that we've come out of the pits behind Raikkonen, so we're in a bit of a traffic here, which I really do not want. That might hinder our chances of catching Perez and Bottas. I really hope he doesn't hold us up too much, but we've come out behind him and we're behind him in the worst section. You can see we got so much dirty air, so we really can't overtake him, and this technical section really sucks when you're behind another car. And I'm behind a really slow Alfa Romeo, obviously doing really well in 2022 this year, but yeah, back in 2021 they were really slow, and we lost at least 0.5 of a second. Yeah, we lost at least half a second there to Perez. Really not helpful for us, and does not help us in our fight for the podium, which is the fight for the podium against our teammate now, because our teammate comes out of the pits behind Sergio Perez, and he was right there. That was a bit painful to watch because he just came out right ahead of us as we set the fastest lap of the race. So we're really pushing hard in the early part of the stint on our medium tires. I want to retain that pace and try and catch up to my teammate, although I haven't really caught up to him in all this time. So yeah, that was really strange. And now this is where it starts going downhill for us, because our teammate starts gaining on us and we're not doing as well. We're really wearing out the tires. We're pushing so hard, but I don't think there's much performance in these medium tires. And yeah, you can see on the next lap it's the same thing at the end, and you can see in this part of the lap we're actually like gaining time, you know, because there's some parts of the lap, like the first sector, where we gain time but we lose the time in the rest of the lap. And this is really shocking. This is something I noticed when I was editing. I lost so much time on the straight. So what's happening there? That was really confusing to me. I lost a few tenths of a second just on the straight. So I think what I understood the issue is that Bottas and Perez were giving each other DRS, so they were automatically gaining time on me, which was why I couldn't catch up to them in the late stages of this race. You can see they're battling each other, so that's a bit of a lifeline for me on the penultimate lap of this race now. But the gap is so huge. I mean, even if it goes down to 2 seconds. So yeah, even if it has gone down to 2 seconds, I don't think I'll be able to catch up to them, in which is what, like 1.5 laps now, around that much. So yeah, this is it's not good for us. It's been a difficult second stint. I really did well on the softs, but yeah, it's 1.5 seconds now. So if I really push, I might catch them, but the tires are wearing out and they're giving each other DRS, so there's not much hope. But I can still see them ahead, so I was pretty motivated to try and catch them. And you can see I pushed too hard. Definitely lost time on that final corner, so not a good final corner for us. Max Verstappen puts in the fastest lap of the race, so he is flying. And yeah, we're on to the final lap. We're 5 tenths of a second off our best lap, and the cars ahead are pulling away again despite battling. But yeah, they're giving each other slipstream and DRS on the straight, so they are able to pull away a little bit. I am gaining time in some corners, but there's not really much I can do at this stage. And yeah, I don't really do well in this S section as well because of the worn tires. I have to lift off in places that the other drivers may not necessarily have to lift off, and yeah, you can see it's making mistakes there. But yeah, that was the end of our fight for P3. We come home. We're coming through the final corner now. It's been a really fun race. I mean, the end was hard, but it was a really fun race to drive, and I really enjoyed the circuit. But yeah, P4 for us on a circuit where I'm not necessarily good at because it's so relatively actually. It's pretty new to the game. It's yeah, so I haven't had much practice on it, but yeah, I really enjoyed that race. Some great battles, and that double overtake on the Alpines, whew, that was nice. Driver of the day, pretty much what I expect from Last of Us challenges. But yeah, that went really well for us. P4, some good points, and overall a great Last of Us challenge. The next race after this is in Melbourne, so I'll be finally doing a Australian Grand Prix Last of Us challenge. I've literally have never done an Australian Grand Prix Last of Us challenge, because ever since I created F1ntastic Gaming, there has been no Australian Grand Prix. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button for more fantastic Formula 1 content.